is our guest, our speaker today. He grew up on a family farm in Ayersville and is currently still farming. Don is a graduate of Ayersville High School, Wilmington College, and University of Dayton. He also attended the Ohio State University for his teaching certification. Don has spent most of his 35-year teaching career at Ayersville High School and Four County Career Center. At those places, he taught and guided the Ayersville Agricultural Education Program and was an advisor of the Ayersville FFA chapter. Don, his wife Ann, and their 3 daughters, Lauren, Natalie, and Molly, were all 4-H and FFA members and exhibitors at Defiance County Fair. Don has been an Ohio Farm Bureau member since 2012 and has been on the Defiance County Farm Bureau board for the last 2 years.
Well, first of all, thank you. The meal was awesome. I appreciate that. Today, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak here at the Hicksville Rotary Luncheon Ag Day. Since retiring as a vocational agriculture teacher, I've lost my captive audience that at least had to hear me for 42 minutes a day, 5 days a week. So today, I'm just going to try to be more captivating than you being captive. So I'd like to speak about agriculture and advocacy. When you think of farming or agriculture, you don't think of advocacy. You may ask, where does advocacy fit in today's agriculture? So my agricultural journey started when I was growing up on the family farm and continued to this day. I was a premium production 4-H and Ayersville FFA member where I showed sheep and cattle at the fair. I've been out of the livestock business for a number of years, but still no-till farming and implementing cover crops in my operation the last 15 years. I was a vocational agriculture teacher for almost 35 years, and I've been so blessed with the opportunity to influence young people in agricultural careers. I was a part of many students' choice to be engineers, lawyers, farmers, welders, agribusiness owners, ag teachers, interior designers, and many other career opportunities. I am so proud of how so many of those students are now a part of our community. And many of them are colleagues of mine. However, this opportunity was almost taken away by people who did not understand the importance of agriculture to our community, to our country, and to our state. Advocacy is defined as a public support for a recommendation or a particular cause or policy. So this is where my advocacy journey started. Like many farmers, my father was a quiet man and didn't express his views very often. However, he was an Ohio Farm Bureau member, and so I became a member. I understood some of the benefits of membership, but was not an active member. Throughout my college and early in my agricultural career, I dropped membership. I guess I didn't see the benefits for me. All that changed when the state legislative body was going to cut funding for agricultural education. A friend of mine said to me, you can't complain if you're not willing to you can't complain if you're not willing to help change or be a part of the solution. That is when I decided to be a part of the solution and be more active in Farm Bureau. Through Ohio Farm Bureau advocacy, we've been able to keep and grow agricultural education. I truly believe without Ohio Farm Bureau, agricultural education would not be what it is today in Ohio. As a Defiance County Farm Bureau board member, I have been able to see how Farm Bureau has used our county level concerns collectively bring them to people who have the power to change. I've seen the power of advocacy. As a teacher and a farmer, all I wanted to do is my job. Go to work, have some stability in my day, my year, and my career. That was all threatened by people who may not be educated in the importance of agriculture to our state. If you don't have a seat at the table of the movers and shakers, they may hear only information from one side. This seat is where Farm Bureau can and has been able to give our perspective and information to those movers and shakers. Without advocacy, information may be given to people who may not personal knowledge of agriculture. Ohio Farm Bureau has been giving our voice and our concerns to our movers and shakers. Some of those concerns, such as eminent domain, property taxes, and land use issues, have been discussed and are continuing to be in negotiations. Issues such as water quality, water rights, and environmental impacts are a concern that are continuing to be studied at Farm Bureau. At a recent Ag Day at the Capitol, I was encouraged to see opposing sides come together to work for a solution. Ohio Farm Bureau has opportunities to help our members with such programs as the Young Ag Professionals. This is where young men and women can meet and discuss agricultural topics that they may be going through in their young ag careers. To give tools and resources to help manage the day-to-day on and off-farm life. To have access to tools and resources for health, safety, land management, and financial security. Since being a part of the Defiance County Farm Bureau Board and keeping with the theme of being a part of the solution, Defiance County Farm Bureau is currently active in a number of projects. Some of our traditional projects include the Barn and Grill at the fair, ag book donations to our school libraries, supporting 4-H and FFA projects, and sponsoring the Defiance County Ag Scholarship. Recently, we have been active in Ag Fest at Balloon Fest. We teamed up with the United Way to help promote Defiance County agriculture and attract people to come to the United Way fundraiser. We feel it was a win-win situation. However, the weather has not been so cooperative. We've had some issues there. We felt that the need for our ag story we felt the need to tell our ag story to a different clientele. And what a better avenue than United Way Balloon Fest. This allowed farmers and ag advocates to educate the general public about Ohio's #1 industry, agriculture. It amazes me how many do not know or are misinformed about production agriculture, food, and the livestock industry. Recently, we sponsored and support a new project called Animal and Me Livestock Show at the fair, where 4-H and FFA members are teamed up with special needs students to show livestock at the fair. And I can tell you firsthand that it truly was a success. Not only for the special needs students, but for the mentors that were with them. I still see smiles on their faces and can't wait for next year's show. We are currently working on a project that would allow our FFA, county FFA chapters to showcase their accomplishments, history, and projects. We're in the planning stages of a building on the fairgrounds that would serve those purposes and may add a safety component to our plan. This would be a permanent structure that would also be used as a storm shelter for not only our fair goers, but the Hicksville community. Defiance County Farm Bureau, Senior Fair Board, and other partners, we don't have all the details worked out yet, but we're hoping to soon. A future project that we're working on to bring a fuel station to Defiance County that would be able to sell E85 or flex fuel. This is a term used when gasoline is blended with ethanol. I believe this is a win for you as a consumer in lower fuel prices. We, as farmers, in a way to market our corn, and earth in a lower greenhouse emissions. More work needs to be done in this area, but we feel it is a start to our goal. In summary, Ohio Farm Bureau gives its members a voice, a seat at the table, and the opportunity to be a part of the solution. Not only to be involved in statewide issues, but local issues to better our county. As with any group, we sometimes don't agree on the way forward, but I believe it is important to have and hear different views. Advocacy may be as important as ever in today's agriculture. If we can come together, solve problems, then we're all in a better place. I do see progress, however small that is. Probably like many of you, I never saw myself in this position when I started my career. Sometimes circumstances challenge us to be more. Again, thanks again for the opportunity. I hope that I was more captivating than you being captive. Thank you again. Questions?
What's the number one problem the farmers face today? Is it the taxes? Is it the conservation type of stuff?
Wow, I'm not sure we have enough time. I think it can be very regional. I think here in Defiance County, obviously, we have issues with the water quality. Those are all concerns of Farm Bureau and me personally as a farmer. I think sometimes, and not always, we contribute. That's impossible to say we don't, but I'm not sure that the problem is to the extent that a lot of other people think it is. So again, you have to have that voice there. But I would say those two things, obviously land issues, I mean, that's always a hot topic no matter where you go. I'm concerned. I mean, we lose about 40,000 acres in Ohio a year, which is kind of concerning. I'm not, you know, I think we have to, and Farm Bureau is working on some things, but I do believe you have to see what it does, be better managers of our land. Yes?
Now, how many FFAs are there in our county or whatever? Hicksville hasn't had FFA, and Jeff or Dan, you guys probably know better than me, since early 60s. Even before you graduated, early 60s. Fairview still has it, I believe, Tenora has it.
Yes, and Ayersville.
Ayersville, no other schools.
Correct, in the county.
You think that would be advantageous if those were maybe started again, or do you think?
Oh, yes. As a former ag teacher, as I mentioned, you know, lawyers, engineers, but I can't tell you how many of my former students are welders, plumbers, you know, concrete workers, factory workers. So I believe, and again, that might not be a good question for me, because I believe every school should have it. They should have some type of form of agricultural education. When Rod and I have been a part of the Balloon Fest, and it's amazing how many people don't understand where their food comes from, you know, and it is amazing.
Thank you.
Bruce, you know, to interject, Hicksville is working on a FA.
Yeah, I asked Bryce because.
I said we had to ask Keith, 'cause I don't know.
Yeah.
Brent knows probably more about it than anybody.
But Hicksville does allow the Hicksville students to attend Fairview.
Yeah,
I've got 2 nieces that
Yeah.
have done that.
and, you know, we as a county, I think you would be so impressed with, I mean, we have state officers, we have had national winners from our little county. I had a national agri-science student of the year, 2nd in the nation, from little old Layersville, you know, to compete against, you know, I think right now there's close to 450,000 FFA members in the United States. Don't hold me to that number, but you know, to go there and compete against everybody, it truly is amazing.
You mentioned fuel.
Yes.
And what did you say about that?
So the E85 or flex fuel.
Because we run that 3 days.
Yes, yeah, and there's some exciting news that way because I don't know if you heard the news, but there is some testing going on with a, what do I want to say, Rod? Airplane fuel.
Sustainable aviation.
Yes, jet fuel that could be used. So right now we just don't have the access to it. Now there is some things in the works. The Sheets gas stations, they do a really good job. Casey, I think, is another one.
Because we've got to go to Waterloo before we do.
Right. And so we're trying to get one here in Defiance. We've been working on it for a couple years, and just to try to get, you know, promotion of our, you know, a way to market our corn, or a way to market soybeans and other things like that. We're hoping they're moving this way. I'll put it that way. I just heard that they were putting some flex fuel up in Michigan from Sheets. And so I think and some Indiana places are going that way, so we're getting closer.
Do you know if there's any activity at the legislative level to prohibit the sale of farmland to foreign nations?
Yeah, good question. Yes, there is. I want to say that it's in the process. I don't believe it's passed yet. Does that sound familiar?
Some states have passed some restrictions. On a federal level, it's in the discussion.
Yeah, it's in the discussion. Our representative, Roy Kloffenstein, he has mentioned that there's opposing views, obviously, and trying to come to, you know, an agreement is going to be tough, but they had a list of foreign adversaries. Those would not be able to buy farmland in our country, or our state, I should say. But I think there's some debate, like, okay, what happens to a person who comes here, does what they were supposed to do, you know, through whatever our immigration law is, and become a citizen, and even though they may be tied to one of those countries, you know, so there's some debate there on how that's all going to get worked out. But there is law and legislation being discussed as we speak. Any other questions? Before I go, just two things. Rod has been a board member with me. He was on before I was, but and he's done some things, so I appreciate him coming today. And if you are interested, please talk to Rod or I. We have some magazines and some information if you would like it. Please feel free to take it, read the articles. It's usually about, Ohio agriculture. And so, again, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks again, Don, and thanks everybody for coming. Farm Day is always kind of fun. We enjoy it. It's good to get everybody together, except when we're running there waving at each other, going on the road. So with that, we'll close with the pledge, and that's it.